Live. Welcome to another live lesson at the BBR Productions YouTube channel. Hey, this is for you writers out there. You are author, you are screenwriter. What do? Do you write? This is probably going to help you. Why do I say that? Because today is the conclusion of the 3-act, 27-beat story outline. We're going to literally break down the 3-act structure utilizing the 27 beats that should be in a story. And today we're going to focus on the 3rd act. We've already done a video on Act 1 and Act 2. So today, let's get it done. As always, I'm Thomas J. Beleza. Please like, comment, and share the video along with subscribing for future content, to learn how to succeed in your career, specifically the entertainment industry. We go over everything from how to build and cultivate relationships to marketing a brand, representing yourself truthfully, learning your strengths and weaknesses, and ultimately, of course, craft. We go over how to write, all the other stuff, basically how to create and also pitch those things. All right, we'll be coming up with some more of those videos in the future. So subscribe for that stuff. Let's get started. As I mentioned earlier, the 3-act breakdown, the way I personally do it is based on a system that uses 27 beats, or in some cases, it's just 27 chapters. Every chapter of the book is a specific beat. You're trying to hit that moment within the chapter. When you're writing a screenplay or even just a story, I focus on the beats, because even though it's 27 chapters traditionally, with this method, you can take 3 chapters to basically, like for example, if we did the power within beat, you can do a chapter leading to the power within, a chapter about the power within, and a chapter leading away from the power within. Sorry about that. So you're not confined to this particular structure, but understanding the beats you should be hitting in a story will allow you to manipulate and control it in a way that suits your narrative needs. Okay? Gotta get that hydration. Oh yeah, that feels good. No diet cherry Pepsi today, but the agua's gonna have to do it. Now, in the 3-act breakdown, as we went over in Act 1 and 2, there are 3, as you can see, sections to each act. All right? Act 1 has 3 sections, 9 beats. Act 2 has 3 sections, 9 beats. And Act 3 has 3 sections and 9 beats. We're going to focus on the beats, and really we're going to continue to use Hunger Games, the first novel, as an example to the story narrative, okay? And how these beats correlate. So in the first section of Act 3, really the first beat you're trying to hit directly after Act 2 concludes, right? After the descending conflict. The trials. This beat is known as the trials, and the hero is going to face significant trials. All right? They could be mental, they could be physical, they can be competitive, right? Whatever the case may be. In this situation, Katniss races to find and save Peeta. So this is what the significant trials. She doesn't know where he is. She doesn't know her environment very well. Everything's basically against her, and she needs to find and save Peeta because he's been hurt. Okay. Once they deal with that significant trial, it leads to the pinch. Now, a pinch is something that kind of like puts your hero, your protagonist, into defensive. Like, oh, this is like this says, second pinch that is unexpected and worse, puts them into a worse situation. All right. So in this case, the first beat, she does eventually find Peeta to save him, but while she's working to save him, Peeta's leg injury starts giving him blood poisoning. Hey, hello, how's it going, good sir? All right, so woo, fans. Yes, the mic is working this time. I double checked. My mic died last episode. All right. So the pinch is really, it's representing, it's something that's unexpected and makes the situation completely worse. All right. So again, he has the leg injury. She has saved him and found him, but the leg injury is causing blood poisoning. Oh no. Right? Which brings us to the third beat of the first section of Act 3 is the darkest moment. This is ultimately the plot twist that leads to the darkest moment. And again, a plot twist isn't necessarily just like, oh, he's been his brother the whole time. A plot twist is a device in narrative storytelling that just moves the narrative off a little bit. It changes the narrative in a way that creates movement. And a good example is Katniss risks everything to get Peeta's meds, but she passes out. So the plot twist in this situation is she doesn't, she found him, she saved him, he has a blood injury. All right, if I had meds, I could save him. Oh wait, there are meds, but it's gonna risk. I literally have to risk everything. Meaning her original narrative purpose to win the event and get back home, all that is thrown off the table. The twist is that she has to give up that. She has to risk winning the tournament and getting home to ultimately save Peeta. So that's the twist. So again, it doesn't always have to be like he was the brother the whole time. It's just something that moves the story outside of the original trajectory of the main protagonist's purpose. Okay, so in this case, her she had the inciting incident, which is I volunteer instead of my sister, so I could save her. Then she had to leave, and then while she was leaving, she had to really think. She has to come up to the point where she had to make the choice, where she's like, I have to win this because if I win, I'll get home. So that's driving her the whole story, right? I just have to win. I just have to show that I can do this. I'm going to take it seriously. I'm going to show that I'm really good at archery. I won the crowd over. Everything's in my favor. I'm going to get home. I'm going to win this. That's her. But this plot twist, which is literally derails that mentality. Now it's not about getting home or winning the tournament. It's just simply about saving Peeta. All right. So once this first section of Act 3 is concluded, we go to the second section of Act 3 and we hit your fourth narrative beat. These are just beats you should hit in a story. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes like these 3 beats you can hit within a chapter. It's not uncommon to just be like, let's just hit those beats. But they are important to telling the story. It's just a traditional way of moving the story. But the way you utilize these beats is how you create your voice as a writer. You as a writer, you add the verbiage, the way the characters move, how they move. All that is up to you. But if you can understand how these beats work, you can put them into your narrative storytelling. And again, you could make them each a chapter. You can make it 3 chapters. You can make it all in 1 chapter. What I'm going over today is just understanding these important beats that should be in your story. Okay? So the 4th beat in the 3rd act should be that power within. Ultimately, having hit rock bottom, the protagonist or hero remembers their why, their purpose, their I have to win this to get home. All right? So the power within, she feels all is lost. She passed out. She finally wakes up, and here it is. Katniss and Peeta. This is the moment where they're healing, they're resting. They're not really being attacked aggressively, but while they're healing, they realize, wait a minute, we got to try. We have to. Well, what's the point? Okay, so as they're healing, they remember their why. They remember, let's beat this. So that leads us to the 5th beat, which is the action. This is another hero takes action, and the action causes the plot lines to converge by the end of beat 6 in section 8. That's this section, okay? And by the end of this beat, all the plot lines that have been created in your narrative from the beginning to this point will ultimately become the main storyline here. And it'll all just boop, and then it doesn't always have to be that way, by the way. It definitely doesn't always have to be that way. Sometimes you can get there and like the main story plots will converge, but maybe like a C, a D, or an E storyline plot might be like, all right, well, we're gonna have a sequel, or there's gonna be another book that we're seeding another book, and by seeding that other book, we're gonna leave that open ended. But traditionally, by the end of this 6th beat, all of this action that's taken in beat 5 will lead to all the plot lines converging. It doesn't mean that they'll be concluded, it just means that they're converging. Everything is coming together. So in the action beat, Katniss and Peeta, they realize they are close to winning, right? So while they're healing, look at that. While they're healing, this beat actually comes within that scene. So it's not like, a whole big thing, but they're like, what are we going to do? We got to do this. We're so close to winning. Everything really looks like it's right there. All right. And that brings us to number 6. The 6th beat is the convergence, or the converge, or to converge. And this is leading to the resolution. Okay. Which is ultimately going to be the battle. But this is leading to the resolution of everything. And what happens here is the tributes, because there's like, whatchamacallit, like, there's people that they're just like, they're just the best, and they've always been around and stuff like that. So the tributes are pushed. It's all tributes too. Some had to volunteer, some got chosen, but there's like career tributes, right? So they're the ones that are really fighting. The tributes are pushed to the lake by game makers for the final battle. Basically, this is the moment where, in the story, everyone's doing what they're doing, but the game makers are like, let's just get this over with, and the walls start coming in, like the walls and the force field. But in another story, this might ultimately be, well, in Pirates of the Caribbean, this might be when Jack Sparrow comes back in, and Barbossa's like, aren't you supposed to be dead? And he's like, he goes, this is impossible. And he goes, probable. It's improbable, right? And then they make a deal. He goes, how about before you end the curse, why don't you go out to the ship and take over the ship, and then you'll be an admiral, and I will give you a percentage of my booty. And that's leading to the resolution, because that leads to the big fight. Because ultimately, when everybody leaves, it's Barbossa and Barbossa, Captain Jack with Will and Miss Swan, Elizabeth. They're all in that cave with I think 2 or 3 other like henchmen, and then like the other people are on the boat, which is number 7, the big battle. Okay, but in this moment, Will is there, Elizabeth is there, Captain Sparrow's there, Barbossa's there, the Commodore's outside, the Black Pearl is outside, like literally, right? The action, right? So everybody gets to this location, which is the action. The hero takes action, right? They choose to get, right? They're like, we have to go to this one location where they all exist in Pirates of the Caribbean. And because that action is taken, it's going to converge all the plot lines to the Black Pearl story at the end of number 6, which is Captain Jack Sparrow says, hey, before you cure you, goes, go out there, take care of them. But he's using it so he can fight Barbossa alone. But literally all the plot lines converge. Everyone is there. Everyone is there, right? So that's the end of section 2 of Act 3, and we've hit 6 beats, all right? So it's important, before we hit the 3rd section and the final 3 beats, as a writer, again, something you should really be aware of is just because rules exist doesn't mean you can't break them. But your job is to have as many tools as possible. These are tools. Organizing the beats into words and defining those words and defining those sections is a tool. Because now you know, all right, what is the trials that my protagonists have to deal with? What is the significance trials? What is really going to be pushing hard on them? It allows you to put some thought into it. But you can break that rule as much as you want once you understand it. The power of controlling a narrative is being able to know what you can and can't do and how you can and can't do it, right? So just take a moment to realize that these are just rules. I'm just teaching you things that you can use. Just putting some weapons into your arsenal. And with that, like, comment, and share this video to help others. And remember to subscribe for future content on how to be successful in your career, specifically the entertainment industry. With that, let's get to the 3rd section. And, oh, look, we're doing good. 15 minutes. All right. The seventh beat is the battle. Now, we all know this in the Hunger Games. It's ultimately like everybody's fighting everybody, right? So the battle is the final battle, but the final battle doesn't have to be a big bad. The final battle could just be like two friends not being friends. Maybe a relationship breaks up. Maybe it's internal. They're battling something within them. You know, it's the big in rom coms. Basically, this is where like the guy usually messes up, and the girl's like, "I don't want anything to do with you," and then they break up, and then by the end, the resolution is they get back to they're holding the music, the beat by the radio, and it's like, oh, I love him, he's so beautiful. Okay. Anyway, so in this situation, the big battle is ultimately what? Peeta and Katniss try to survive the cold night to beat Cato. This is right before the very end, right? So this is the battle where they're just trying to survive the weather, but they have to fight everybody. They're going to go out and just fight. All right. And, where does that lead? It leads to the eighth beat, which is the action. Now, if you notice a common denominator here, the action is usually in the middle, right? So even in Act 2, the second beats of each section are usually action. So something happens, and they basically go, do I or do I not? I'm going to do it, or I'm not going to do it. And then that leads to basically the immediate reaction to that. And as you can see, when we get to resolution, it's immediate reaction and or resolve. So it could either be either or, right? But the action beat is hero takes action to resolve the problem created by the midpoint conflict. So now, once we understand what beat 8 is, when you're working on your midbeat, your midpoint in your story, right, which is in Act 2, which would be Act 2, the second section, beat 5 in that world. That's your midpoint. When you're working on that, now you can start seeding. You can say, well, hero takes action to resolve the problem created by midpoint conflict. You could start seeding how the midpoint will influence that resolve. And seeding is basically a term of like putting in things so it's not like a deus ex machina where they're just like they somehow have a thing that fixes the thing out of nowhere. Or my least favorite example, my favorite example of my least favorite thing that happened with Deus Ex Machina and stories like that is ultimately like, you think a character's dead or something, and the hero's trying to save themselves from and it's gonna happen, and then out of nowhere they just get hit by the person who's dead, or even worse, that character isn't even in the scene, and the hero's being beaten by the villain, and then out of nowhere this person comes and goes, "Boom! I got you. You're saved," right? And you're just like, you didn't even see that. Like, we didn't even know that person was coming, let alone we didn't even know they had a chance to be alive. You know what I'm saying? In Star Wars, let's see. Yeah, Star Wars, the first Star Wars, Han Solo is like, I want my money. Give me my money. I'm out of here. I saved you, princess. And Luke's like, you're not going to stay along? We could use fighter pilots. And he's like, nah, kid, I'm out of here. But that moment is actually that moment is right here. So that's in Star Wars when Han Solo gets the money and like the plans have been given and everyone's getting together to get ready for the battle. In here, they see that with their emotional retort, the rhetoric. It's like just I have to pay Jabba the Hutt, and then maybe I'll see you, whatever. But what they're doing is they're seeding that Han Solo is going to come back. They're seeding that he's more than just about the money. The way they're talking to him, and then, stuff like that. So if you watch Star Wars, you'll see that. Okay, so action. Beat 8. Basically, what happens is the hero takes action to resolve the problem created by midpoint conflict. Which, by the way, what is the midpoint conflict? Is like this stupid Hunger Games. We got to stop the Hunger Games. They're a terrible, terrible thing. So Peeta and Katniss fake eating poison berries. In the movie, I think they're going to eat them. I don't think they fake it. In the book, they fake it, but in the movie, I think they're going to eat it, and then they're like, no, don't eat it. And the presidente and the game makers stop the game and they declare both of them winners, which is, by the way, unheard of in the Hunger Games. But they're doing that. They're taking a stance, which, by the way, if we go back to Act 2, I forget what beat it was, but in Act 2, they seed the rebellion. Oh, I think it was Act 2, Section 2, fourth beat, where because she wins the crowd over. She wins the. Oh, no. It was Act 2, Section 1, beat 3, where basically her actions win the crowd over. And then they talk about rebellion. So this is seeding this thing where they change the way the games work and they defied the president and the game makers. So this is resolving the midpoint conflict, because in book 2 and 3, it's a different world, right? They have just changed the way the Hunger Games work. And then it gets us to the 9th beat, resolves the story, or the immediate reaction to the 8th beat results. In this situation, the resolve is very straightforward. They end the book in a way where Katniss and Peeta go home. Right? They're just like, they're going to go home. However, they have an immediate reaction to that, where it's like, this is not the end. Katniss knows she's in trouble. She knows, yeah, they may have taken a stand, but she's in more danger now, which is an emotional immediate reaction to what happened in the 8th one, which is, we may have taken a stand, but now we're on their radar, and you don't want to be on their radar, right? And there you go. There's your 9 beats. Now remember, Act 1 has 3 sections, 9 beats. Act 2 has 3 sections, 9 beats. And Act 3 has 3 sections, 9 beats. And that makes 27 beats in a story, or each beat can be a chapter, or in a screenplay, you can make each beat a scene if you want it. Right? And by scene, I don't mean like if somebody enters a house and they talk to somebody, and then they like go to another room and they talk to 3 other people, and then they go to another room. Like, that's like a moment. So if you have 27 moments or 27 story moments, that would be a full screenplay as well. Okay, so think of it like that. Anyway, there you go. Boom. That's what I'm talking about. It's good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, the other 2 videos are up, and feel free to watch those if you want to get a recap on this. I'm going to start doing more videos on Wednesday that really go over how to take your stories to the next level, pitch decks, things like that, how to write treatments, etc., etc. Those are the kind of things we go over on the Wednesdays. My feet have a life of their own. Anyway, I'm out of here. Wow, that was pretty good. 23 minutes. We did great. Thomas J. Beleza. Like, comment, and share the video so we can help others rise, right? Because we want to work together, grow together, and rise together. And remember, surround yourself with good people. Anyway, be good. Thanks again for staying by and watching. I love it. Till next time.